Brister throws middle. It's picked off.
Hayward against Davis. It's stolen by Green. Here's Kuzma. Good, and it's Green picking up the assist.
Yo, this is Mr. Glass, and welcome to the Glass House.
Yes, indeed. Do not adjust your TV screens. You are in the Glass House. Man, set it off, Mr. Glass.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy Vic, a.k.a. Mr. Spock. And today, we have something special for y'all, man. We are going to be Trekkies, although I myself am not the greatest Trekkie on the planet, but I am surrounded by some true Trekkies, okay? So this is going to be an awesome show. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hearing them give me a reason to go watch all the Star Treks that I missed back when I was younger. So this is going to be cool for me. It's going to be pretty much all about Star Trek, and maybe we'll do some gaming news as we, get into it as well. Hopefully you guys are ready to get at it. Captain Nabisco, talk to me.
Yes, indeed. So, what's going on is we are going to travel to a far, far place, world, whatever. And we are going to learn something awesome about one of the greatest legendary icons, Miss Nichelle Nichols. And for those that don't know, we're going to educate you tonight. So, Wolf, what you got for us, man?
Yeah, Wolf, what you got?
Wolf.
Worf.
Did you call me Wolf?
You said
Yeah,
Wolf.
It's Wolf.
You get the R. Wolf.
Hey, you can tell. Hey, guys,
Lesson number one.
You can tell he's
Number
fresh.
one, it's Worf.
Hey man, you can tell he's fresh off of his vacation. His pronunciation.
I mean, for real.
Quite, you know what I mean? He
Messing
hey,
up
look,
the intro,
listen.
messing up people's names.
Listen,
We made it like a minute and a half in, guys.
I just want to ask. Have we tested him for Twinkies? I know he just got back. I know it might not be able to test him yet, but I'm just gonna ask.
Hey,
There's a
hey,
test.
Spot, I'm just saying. The dude came back wanting to call himself Snack, so you just never know.
Hey, if y'all ain't testing
never
me,
know.
y'all ain't testing me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I would pass that
boy.
test.
All right, so yeah, man. I know we got Nichelle Nichols. We have a great video of her coming up. Do we want to cue that up now?
We'll queue it up, but let me set it up first. I got it, yo.
Valid point.
Basically, yeah. So basically, we're going to be talking about Star Trek, but this show is really dedicated to the life and memory of Nichelle Nichols, who played Commander Uhura on the original Star Trek series that lasted from 1966 to right around 1969. And she was in also all of 6 of the original Star Trek movies. And basically she was a trailblazer. She was on TV at a time in the United States where if you were African American and you were on TV, you were playing a maid, or you're playing a bad guy, or you were playing something other than a positive image. And here comes Star Trek, which is a show that was set 200-300 years in the future, and here she is in all her beauty and all her glory, and she's playing one of the chief characters on this sci-fi TV show. Jean-Luc Leroy, do you want to add anything before I cue this video?
Man, all I gotta say is she was definitely a trailblazer. She was the communications officer, which meant that she understood and was able to speak more dialects and languages than anybody else on that ship. Okay, once again, now this was a black lady in the '60s who at the time was either a maid, a bad guy, a slave, or something, one of those, and she was the communications officer on a starship traveling through space, exploring different worlds. And it was just great just to see her and her class and her beauty and everything else that exhumed her on TV. It was 100% great.
Now, let me just say, the show came out about 2 or 3 years before I was born, so of course I saw the reruns in the '70s, and I never missed any of the movies when they were in the theaters.
Yeah,
Michelle Nichols was fine as all outdoors. I'm gonna just keep it like that. She was
100.
gorgeous. She was gorgeous, and just like LaRock said, she was the communications officer on a starship, and nobody could outdo her. We had never seen that before. So the video that I'm about to play is a little long, but I'm hoping that it's going to spark some discussion. And what happened after the first season in 1966? Let's see
What's happening, my guy?
What up?
what's good. What's good. Welcome.
Salute.
So this video talks about her experience and what happened after the first year of Star Trek.
By the end of the first season, I had so much fan mail that I didn't know I had, that was in the mail room, that they offered me a contract. I also was offered a role, a play to do that was Broadway bound. And I was going to leave the show and take that. And it was a good role. Forget what the heck it was now. And so I went in and told Gene that I was gonna, when the season was up, I was gonna leave. And Gene says, you can't do that. Yes, I can. And he said, don't you understand what I'm trying to achieve here? I said, Gene, you've been wonderful. And I really thank you for this opportunity. But my life is theater, musical theater. And I'm getting offers for all kinds of wonderful things where I want to be. And he was sitting behind his desk, and he looked up at me, and he said, and I handed him my resignation that I'd written out. And he took it, I finally laid it on the desk, and he looked at it, and he said, take the weekend, Michelle, because that's how I know it was either Thursday or Friday. And he said, and think about it. And if you feel the same way the beginning of next week, if you still feel that way, think about this. It's more than you think it is. Just think about it. And if you still want to go on by Monday morning, I'll give you my blessing. You go with my blessings. And he took the resignation, stuck it in his desk drawer. And I said, thanks, Gene, and I skipped out of there. Whew, that went better than I thought. And as fate would have it, I've always used this way because I believe in fate. I believe it was fated. I was to be a celebrity guest at some fundraising thing in Beverly Hills. I believe it was an NAACP fundraiser, but it might not have been, but I think it was. And so I went to do this on that Saturday night, and I had just been taken to the dais and sat down when the organizer came over and said, Miss Nichols, how are you, and blah, blah, blah. And he said, listen, there's someone here who said he is your biggest fan, and he's looking chirpy, you know, and he said, and he's desperate to meet you. He really wants to meet you. And I said, oh, thank you. Now I know, you know, lots of fan mail, and I've seen it, the shows, and they're being on for, you know, and the ones that I got to see, because usually I didn't get home until after the show was over. I didn't see most of Star Trek that I was in until the reruns. And I was on hiatus at best. So I said, certainly, and I stand up and turn, and I'm thinking, it's a Star Trek fan. He said, it's a Star Trek fan. I'm looking for a young man who's a Star Trek fan. I turn, and instead of fan, there's this face the world knows with this beautiful smile on it. And I remember thinking, whoever that fan is going to have to wait, because Dr. Martin Luther King, my leader, is walking toward me, not 10 feet away, with a beautiful smile on his face. And then this man says, yes, Miss Nichols, I am that fan. I am your best fan, your greatest fan. And my family are your greatest fans. As a matter of fact, this is the only show on television that my wife, Coretta, and I will allow our little children to watch, to stay up and watch, because it's on past their bedtime. And I said, which was all that I was able to say. My mouth just opened and closed. He said, we admire you greatly, you know. And he said some more things, and the manner in which you've created this role has dignity and so forth. And he said, you know, and before he said, I said, Dr. King, thank you so much. And then I got the courage to say, and I really am going to miss my co-stars. And he said, what do you mean? Dead serious. What are you talking about? I said, well, I've had an offer. He said, you cannot. And I said, well, I'm going to leave Star Trek because I'm going to have an offer to star in I never got that far. I said, well, I'm leaving Star Trek. He said, you cannot. You cannot. And I felt like that little boy, Willis. What you talking about, Dr. King? But you know I didn't say that, no. But I was taken aback, and I didn't say anything. I just looked at him. He said, don't you understand what this man has achieved? Is achieving or something? And I thought, deja vu all over again. I just looked at him. He said, for the first time on television, we will be seen as we should be seen every day, as intelligent, quality, beautiful people who can sing, dance, but who can go into space, who can be lawyers, who can be teachers, who can be professors, who are in this day, and yet you don't see it on television until now. And he went on, so many of the things, perhaps some of the things he said, but I could say nothing. I just stood there, realizing every word that he was saying was the truth. And he said, if you leave, Nichelle, Gene Roddenberry has opened a door for the world to see us. If you leave, that door can be closed because you see, your role is not a black role. And it's not a female role. He can fill it with anything, including an alien. And at that moment, the world tilted for me. And I knew then, I didn't want to know it because I was going to go through some more turmoil for the rest of the week. But I knew that I was something else, that the world was not the same. And that's all I could think of was Dr. King. Everything that he had said. The world sees us for the first time as we should be seen. And I remember being angry come Sunday or whatever. Why me? Why should I have to? Whatever happened come Monday morning, I went to Gene, and I'm not sure to this day if I knew what I was going to say. He's sitting behind that same dang desk. And he had, whoever he was talking to had to leave because I went there first. And I said, Gene, and I told him what happened. And I said, if you still want me to stay, I'll stay. I have to. And he opened his drawer and he looked up at me and said, God bless Dr. Martin Luther King. Somebody knows where I'm coming from. And I said, that's what he said in my brain. And he took out my resignation, which was torn into 100 pieces, and handed me the pile.
Wow.
And we just stood there looking at each other. And I finally said, thank you, Gene. And he said, thank you, Nichelle. And my life's never been the same since. And I've never looked back. I've never regretted it. Because I understood the universe had somehow, that universal mind had somehow put me there. And we have choices. Are we going to walk down this road, or are we going to walk down the other? And it was the right road for me.
Huh.
Man.
Well, that was
That was
powerful.
so dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's take a minute to process all of that because I know it took me a minute when I saw that. The fact that, and when you're a creative, sometimes you don't really understand the impact of what you do. You're just doing what comes natural, And the fact that the rock star of that time, Dr. King, personally reached out and said, no, I need you to do this. That's wow. That was just crazy.
So, for the audience, because I know there's probably some people that maybe don't know, and especially because I know this is going to be for the Blast Radio. When did Miss Nichols pass away?
I want to say she passed away
less than a week ago.
Yeah,
It was
I was
really
at the
recent.
this past. When did I get back from the beach?
Wasn't it the same weekend that Bill Russell passed away?
Same day.
Same day that
Wow.
Bill Russell passed away. So yeah,
So then it was
that time.
last Sunday, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So that's what we're working with for that. So as you guys heard, obviously an incredible life.
Yeah.
I mean, the universe, as she eloquently stated, chose her to do this.
Right.
And I'm a big believer in that. I think the universe chooses people for certain moments and certain times to elevate them and to elevate others around them in order to do great things that are maybe even beyond what they thought they had in them. And that was
Facts.
clearly a moment for Miss Nichelle.
Yeah. Dizzy, you have anything?
That was just that speech was pretty intense. Like it was
Facts.
pretty good. Like I'm not a Trekkie. Like I've told you guys this before. I land on the Star Wars side of the fence.
Right.
But I mean, even I have seen all the old movies and I know who Uhura is.
Mhm.
But that speech was like there's a big impact there.
Absolutely. Now this meeting with her and Dr. King took place somewhere around 1960, late 1966, early 1967, right? Which led into season 2. And Troy, can you put that picture up? This happened.
The infamous.
The infamous. This
The
occurred.
first.
Yeah, this occurred in the second season of Star Trek in 1967. This was the first
Yep.
interracial kiss on American television.
Yep.
Seen around the world.
Right.
Yep.
And what happened was it kind of almost led to Star Trek being canceled early. It would go on another year before it got canceled, but the southern states at the time boycotted NBC because of that kiss. So you're talking about, states like North Carolina, South Carolina,
Texas.
Florida, Alabama, Texas, Mississippi, that have a lot of people that were watching television at the time. They were going to boycott NBC because of that one kiss, and so history was made at Dr. King's behest, because had she not stayed on the show, that would have never happened.
Yeah.
So I'll let everybody else respond before I go on.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is when you look at the TV now, right? And you see all these interracial couples, they're even on commercials to this day, which if you think about what that moment meant back then, that would have never happened. It's commonplace now. It is absolutely, and as it should be, people are people. But it's commonplace now, but it was definitely not then. And so another thing that Miss Nichols was a trailblazer on, the first black female who was seen in a positive light, that was the commander, the communications commander on a starship. And you know what I mean? It's just so much that she was able to accomplish there.
Yeah. And what is so crazy about it, if you did not know, and if you was not a Trekkie fan, you would have thought that show lasted for 10 years. But like D-Ray said, it really only lasted for like 2.5 years. And it's been reruns of the original show ever since. I have not lived a year on this earth without ever seeing a rerun or something of the original Star Trek series to this day.
That is an absolute fact.
To this day. 2.5 years with the show, and you would swear up and down that it was a 10, 15-year run.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's news to me. I didn't think it lasted all. It's only 2.5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
I have a question
That's
for you
crazy.
guys who are Trekkies then. Back in those days, obviously I wasn't alive then, but back in those days, was the show incredibly popular? Or
God, yes.
was it okay? Because I didn't know. I thought maybe, because when stuff like that comes out, sometimes it's not an immediate success. Sometimes it takes a while, and then it's like a cult following, and then people, I've seen this, and then it explodes, 6-8 months later.
Here's what happened. It was a cult following. It was a cult success, but the executives at NBC started weighing the cost per episode because at this time in the late 60s, each episode was costing somewhere around $140,000 to produce.
Yeah.
And so in the 60s, that's a lot of money, right?
Dude, that's a lot of money now.
Right. And so even though, and we look at the special effects now, and this was before LucasArts and before special effects departments, the studio had to make all these effects and make the ships fly and all this other stuff. So the cost got to be too much for what they would deem to be reasonable. But the fans, and I want to say it ranks really, really high. TV Guide did a top 25 TV executive blunders, and the cancellation of Star Trek is like number 10 or number 12, somewhere around in there, because they still had a following. They had a following so much, in fact, that after the show was canceled, it went into syndication. And just like LaRock said, it's been in syndication since 1969.
Yeah.
1969. And literally all over the world, you can Google it right now. Star Trek is playing somewhere right now. And I'm not talking about The Next Generation. I'm not talking about Deep Space Nine, Voyager. The TOS, the original series, is playing somewhere right now, which is why a lot of these actors on these shows, because Gene Roddenberry was also a trailblazer in making sure all of his actors signed syndication deals, that they got residuals for these reruns. So really, all they had to do was show up to the conventions to make to get paid. But, and I know we're coming to the blast artists, but the cult following got so big, the ratings for the reruns started to eclipse brand new shows in the 70s. Right? This led to the idea of creating a movie, which led to Star Trek, the motion picture, which debuted in 78, 79, which is, by my accounts, one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time.
I can't wait for us to get on the back end of this blast of the week, because I got questions now. And and I'm going to pertain these questions to gaming. So now I got some. Okay. Let's
no doubt.
I like this.
Go ahead, Troy. Lock and load it.
All right. Yes, indeed. So we are going to play our boy who is new to Blast. His name is Keith Fly Holmes, and this is called Sunset.
Kenneth.
This is legit.
Kenneth. Boy, you just messing up. You know what? You can't go on vacation ever again.
No.
Banned.
I can't work anywhere else but that's what my problem is.
You need some more time on the couch.
You know what I'm saying? Give me a sec, because it don't want to play there. So
so this one we're gonna do.
I got it.
I'm gonna keep it rolling, and I'm gonna ask some questions really quick. Troy, signal me once you're ready for what you got here.
I'm ready.
You just said you got it.
Okay, my bad.
I listened.
All right.
I'm about to be a professional.
So here we go. Kenneth Fly Holmes, and this is Sunset.
I'm never gonna get out of this town, am I, Corey? You can do anything you want, man. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, I'll be right there.
You said that a half hour ago.
Yeah, my dad's weird. He gets like that when he's running
used to shit. Before he leave the house, he grabbed the strap and kissed the crucifix. He wasn't really one for elusiveness. The fuse was lit in the hole in the wall, flirting with a cougar bitch. Easy on the eyes and she was super thick. He bet me he was fucking. If he did, I'd have to greet him like you the shit. Jukebox played freaky things by Ludacris. Everybody coolin', good vibes, good drink, no foolishness. He handed me a night and I'm like, what I'm supposed to do with this? He tell me if I die tonight, I ain't even got a suit that fit. I tell him, man, later with that stupid shit. He grabbed the chair beside me aside as we commence to shoot this shit. He say, for real, dog, I done see it. You gon' be stupid rich. You ever get a chance to leave this town and do this shit? Mind your surroundings, be very selective who you with. These boys get jammed, cause one nigga in the crew to flip. I let him know I ain't new to this, I knew this shit. But my nigga had a big mouth like a group of fish. Don't act like we ain't been through a slew of shit. Few equipped, past experiences changed my view of shit. I'm too legit. How many rack we done stacked and blew the bitch? Get in a tight squeeze, pray please. I'ma shoot a bitch. Niggas boot up quick, imagine the niggas I grew up with. If they ain't fans of the hands, then we shoot up shit. Give me $1 for every nigga try me, I be broke as fuck. You take me for a joke or what? You be dead and I be abroad drinking liquor out of coconut. I'm dope as fuck. He say I know, but I had to be the man to say it. Your plans go sour, then you play it how a man to play it. We took some shots and I had leave with a heifer. Woke up the next morning to a liquor bottle on the dresser. Call my nigga to make sure he make it home. His BM answer the phone and say that nigga gone. Hold up. What? How the fuck you mean a nigga gone? That nigga ain't come home last night? Man, hold up. Hey, calm the fuck down, man. Chill out. Hold up. Let me make a full cup phone calls and shit, man. God damn. Hold on real quick, man. Hey. I'm on my way over there, man. We figure this shit out, man. Hold up. What? God damn.
See ya. Not if I see you first.
There it is.
I'm not gonna lie, that was dope. Man,
Oh no, that's
I like
fire.
the whole like theme of the song and the you know what I mean? Like I like that. That was fly.
I don't know what they got in the water down there in that North Carolina and South Carolina area, but man, y'all be coming up with some bangers.
Hey, look
That
at bro.
had a narrative and that, like it was a whole story. Like he
Yeah,
took me
man.
for a whole ride.
It is what it is. You better recognize.
Man.
So let me get the spiel out before we get this thing going down. I love that accent though. That dude was country as all get up. Anyway, if you are an artist or even an up and coming comedian that would like to get some exposure, you can go ahead and join blastmusic247.com, register as an agent or an artist for free, and be a part of the family. Yeah, agent. Anyway, that's blastmusic247.com. And what's the rec, Mr. Spock?
Changing the industry, one artist at a time.
Yo, man, you could never go on vacation again, bro.
No. You can, hey, look, we're gonna have to put a travel ban on you, buddy.
It ain't the vacation. Trust and believe.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
All right, so
it's
I have so
academy.
many questions now when it comes to Star Trek, and I think you guys will be able to help me way more to understand this than I do now. So I would love to know why. Well, first of all, what's the most popular Star Trek video game that there is?
Right at this very moment is Star Trek Online, which has been, I want to say it debuted around 2010.
So
2009, 2010.
So here's my question. Is it fair to say that the Star Wars games have overshadowed them?
You could definitely say it was branched from the idea of Star Trek, but you couldn't say.
I don't want to say.
Like, are the Star Wars games like have they sort of gone over? Like, to be honest, I haven't. Of course, I don't look for it because I'm not a Trekkie, but I haven't seen nearly as many Star Trek games as there has been Star Wars games.
And
right.
Like you've got like the Force Unleashed, you got the Force Unleashed 2, you've got Star Wars: The Old Republic, there was the racing game. Like I can keep going.
There are different franchises. Okay, Star Wars like basically about exactly what it's saying. So it's wars, it's fighting, it's all of that. Star Trek is about exploring. It's about finding better societies, about finding other life forms and everything. So it's not really about warring. So it's not a real big game thing because they're not always trying to fight. Star Wars was based around like enemy, and they're rebels and they're going to fight and like uprise and everything else. Star Trek doesn't have that because it's different societies, different worlds. Every series they're going to explore new and different worlds.
Now, let me also piggyback on that because wherein Star Wars had the majority of video games, Star Trek had TV shows.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. You get what I mean? And so you didn't necessarily need the video game market because, late 70s, early 80s, the video game market was still fairly new. Mm-hmm. And so Star Trek, and on top of that, the Roddenberry family, Gene Roddenberry passed away in 1991. The Roddenberry family is very, very, very selective on who does what with their franchise. And so wherein
Lucas is not so discerning.
Wherein George Lucas is all about that dollar sometimes.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Yeah, the Roddenberry family is very selective. Like they have shot down numerous times people wanting to do games or do things that were non-canon. And the Roddenberry family was like, no, we're not going to do that because they want to protect his legacy. So
here's my next question. Has everybody on this panel heard of the game No Man's Sky?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
All right. Why isn't Star Trek No Man's Sky? Because what you're saying to me is that the game or the Star Wars or Star Trek, franchise is all about exploration, not really so much in the combat, but there's a lot of like role-playing situations and things of that nature that can transpire. So why? And I hope somebody from the Star Trek team listens to this because I think you're missing out on an incredible opportunity.
Actually, and this is where I'm gonna challenge you guys. You can play Star Trek Online tonight because it's cross-platform. You can download it on your Xbox, you can download it on PC or whatever. And it is just that. It is exploration. You can pick whatever class you want to be in. You can be, executive officer material. You can be an engineer. You can be a tactical officer. You can get assigned to a ship. You can spend money and pay for a ship. So I would challenge you before you make that assertion, that presupposition, to try Star Trek Online and then come back and be like, oh, okay, this is what this is. Because once again, Star Trek Online came out right about maybe 3 or 4 years after WoW. and right after the big purge with Matrix Online. Right? Mm. So Star Trek Online has been around at least a decade now. So and they are free to play. It's free for you to play, but also you get to buy your ships, you get to buy weapons, you get to buy uniforms, and who knows, if we get the guts to try another game night, maybe that's something we can all try to play and do an away mission. But yeah,
sounds awesome. Awesome. I actually have a trivia question, and I don't want nobody Googling this.
I'm gonna put the mouse down. You see the mouse right there, right?
My hand.
Yeah.
I ain't doing nothing.
Hands on your head, Negroes. Now, anyway, check it out. Which came first? The original Batman with Adam West or Star Trek?
Batman.
I'm thinking that.
Batman was 1950, I believe, right?
No. Batman was, I'm thinking I'm gonna go Star Trek.
You're gonna go Star Trek. What about you, Dizzy?
Wait, wasn't the original Batman in black and white, wasn't it?
I'm going
No.
Batman.
Okay.
It was part of Star Trek.
Okay, the answer is Batman.
Okay.
However, they both came out the same year. Batman came out in January 1966. Star Trek premiered September of 1966.
Wow.
Now check this out, though. Now I'm gonna go deeper on your trivia.
I think you're wrong.
Go ahead.
Can anybody, and don't Google this because I'm going somewhere with this. Can anybody tell me what studio produced the original Star Trek?
Tyler Perry. No, I'm just.
Oh, you thought that was funny?
Paramount.
No, the original studio that released the original Star Trek was called Desilu, which was Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz's studio.
Yeah,
wow.
I heard she was a big Trekkie.
Lucille Ball.
I did know the Lucille Ball thing. I just didn't know.
Right, Lucille Ball was very, very instrumental because Gene Roddenberry was having a problem getting this show on TV, and Lucille Ball, in her infinite wisdom, helped muscle it through to get this on TV.
You know, I've heard stories from certain angles of entertainment that Lucille Ball was actually kind of a genius.
That's not a rumor.
Yeah,
no exaggeration.
The thing is, like, the character she played on TV, you would watch her and you'd be like, yeah, that's probably what she's like in real life. Apparently, absolutely not. So,
not at all.
Kudos to her for seeing the magic behind this show, and you know, obviously, unbelievable things happened from this show's existence. So that's
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what a lot of people may or may not realize, that Lucille Ball was actually interracially married as well, because her husband was Cuban. So yeah, he was Cuban, and there was stank about that. So
yeah,
you know, she was a trendsetter. She didn't care. That was almost mogul mentality, man. She was a boss.
Right.
Ruthless.
So let's piggyback. Let's circle back to Nichelle Nichols. So Star Trek is canceled. Nichelle Nichols, throughout the 70s, you know, she starred in a lot of black exploitation films, one of which was called Truck Turner. It's hilarious, but you know, whatever. That starred Isaac Hayes in the early 70s. But she also volunteered for NASA to recruit minority and female personnel, because up until this point, all astronauts were white men. White men. So because of her recruitment efforts with NASA, let me name off a list of astronauts. Dr. Sally Ride, who was the first female American astronaut. Okay. Colonel Guy Bluford, who was the first African American astronaut. Dr. Judith Resnick and Dr. Ronald McNair, who were both unfortunately on the Challenger mission that perished. Charles Bolden, Frederick Gregory, Lori Garvin, all of these astronauts that have actually gone into space and have actually logged some time in outer space were astronauts directly because of Nichelle Nichols recruiting them for NASA. How absolutely dope is that?
That's crazy. What's up, Lane?
Midry Glass. That is dope.
So yeah, go ahead.
What I want to clarify what I was talking about earlier as far as like Star Trek and video games.
Sure.
What I meant is, like, we have a dominant line of franchises for Star Wars.
Yes.
Right? Like, you have, like Dizzy was saying, you got Jedi Knight or Jedi Fallen, you got the Jedi Knight stuff, you got Commando, you know, Republic, and all of this other stuff. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, blah, 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 blah. So many titles, right?
4 Battlefront games.
Yeah, Battlefront, you know, the new Battlefront even.
Yeah, so I mean, there's 4 of them. There's Battlefront 1 and 2 for like the original Xbox, and then there's another 1 and 2 for the newer ones. And, and they're not remakes of the old ones. They are completely different games.
Yeah, and then obviously you got the TIE Fighter stuff. You have so many games, right? And my question is that I understand Star Trek has some combat. Star Trek has exploration. Star Trek has deep characters. Star Trek has all these things. And I think what you said about them trying to maintain what was the guy's name? Roddenberry. Mm-hmm. His legacy may be preventing Star Trek from being more mainstream than it even is now. And it's super huge. Right. But I think the gaming industry is what helps Star Wars stay relevant throughout not having TV shows. And the fever pitch that they have for The Mandalorian and things like that. That is all, in my opinion, due to the fact that they stay relevant with gaming. And
and trust me, I'm not debating you on that. I'm just going to give you some facts. Star Trek's iOS game that I think it's called Fleet Command, that debuted about 2 years ago, it has generated $100 million in sales.
Wow.
In revenue. Wow. And it's done that within about a year and a half. Star Trek has rebooted its series on Paramount. Are you letting him in, or you want me to do it?
I will. I got it.
With the lady from
You guys should have swapped me out for Freak this week. He knows more than I do.
Freak, you should get on the show one of these days, man. We can talk about some stuff.
Right. Yeah, and he's absolutely right about that. And so the thing that I would say is that it's just a different approach than Star Wars. Star Wars is something to be entertained by. Star Trek, the intent is to experience. The intent is to get us to thinking. This is not like it's not like necessarily a fantasy story, or, I mean, it is set in the future, but it's one of those things that Gene Roddenberry was trying to get us to see what we could be, what we actually could become.
Yeah.
You know, and that, to me, it's like the difference. And before gaming, before the internet, before Star Wars could ever do it, the conventions were what kept Star Trek alive. People were showing up. You had thousands of people that showed up at these Star Trek conventions in the late 60s, early 70s. Right? Imagine that. With no internet and nothing but some flyers and here, come show up. And they showed up, And so,
I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to like put it another way, Star Trek was Gene Roddenberry's way of showing people what we could become in the future if we ever got rid of, all of our needs, which is money and war and power and like everything else. Because in Star Trek, even on Earth, okay, there is no more money. People do not need money. There's no poverty. There isn't anything. Okay, we have evolved past that. So there's no wars and everything else. But they go out and they find civilizations where it's still warring civilizations, or it's civilizations that haven't evolved to where they have space-faring vehicles and everything else, and they cannot interfere with any of them, okay, because they haven't evolved enough yet. Kind of sort of like a lot of people think that, like, aliens are like watching them now saying, hey, they're advancing, but they're still pretty crazy down there because they want to kill each other all the freaking time, so they ain't gonna mess with us yet. That's kind of sort of the way Star Trek is, and the word Trek means to basically go out and explore, and Star Wars speaks for itself. That's what it's about. So if you think about it, in the 60s, wasn't anyone thinking about video games when this movie came? When this show came out. Star Wars came out in the 80s, and that's Atari and like everything else. So, they started thinking about video games and everything. But in the 60s, wasn't no one thinking about wars and thinking about games, because there was enough hurt going on in the world that he's trying to say, okay, what can we do if we ever got past all of this crap?
And I get that.
So, go out and let people know that, hey, humans are not like this. And he had metaphors for everything, because the aliens that were on there were like metaphors for like the racial tensions that were here on this earth, and they're all working together. You got aliens from Vulcan and like all these other worlds, and they're all
Romulus and
Klingons, and they're all on one ship working together as a team, put aside all that crap, and they all working together as one team. So he had a bigger, mission than just saying, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna blow up a whole bunch of stuff and make some games of it. He's saying, I want to see what we can do if we actually work together.
And let me tell you something. Let me jump in real quick, because I got something else I want to go over before we go. One of the biggest controversies in Star Wars was Return of the Jedi in 1982, 83, when they took Darth Vader's helmet off and it was a white man.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was James Earl Jones.
And everybody knew from 1977 up till around 1981, 82, everybody knew who that voice was. Mm-hmm. And they took the helmet off and it was a white dude.
Can you tell the audience who the voice was? I know who it is, but
James Earl Jones.
There you go.
Was the voice of Darth Vader.
Still is
the voice of Darth Vader.
And I think that is super dope that they got him to come back and do that.
No doubt.
But that was kind of the difference, because Star Trek did not shy away from showing different races doing different things, and not only just being subservient, but in leadership. And that was something that we didn't really see in the Star Wars realm, Right. And so it was kind of a bigger goal. But let me go over this real quick. 10 items that originated in Star Trek that are now in real life.
Yeah.
That we have in real life.
I love these. Go ahead.
All right. Number 10, warp drive. Right? Warp drive was a phrase that originated on Star Trek, which represents faster than light travel. They are now experimenting with faster than light travel, so that instead of it taking 5 years to get to Mars, it could be, you get to Mars in like maybe 15, 20 minutes, right?
That would be insane.
That would be mad.
It is. It's getting that way. Number 9, tractor beams. Tractor beams was something that you first saw on Star Trek, and we actually have that now. We have tractor beams that airports use when planes are out of control, that they can pull a plane out of the sky and land it, or capture things in space, for whatever reason. So we have tractor beams now. Phasers, which are the laser beam guns, we have those now. We have laser guns that can zap you. Here's a big thing.
I don't think I like the sound of that.
It's true. Well, you got all the petroleum protection you need for that, buddy. Number 7. Woo! So sorry. Number 7. We have tablet computers. Now, in Star Trek, we had these. In Star Trek, they would walk around with these things that we take for granted now. We have iPads now that are same like the data pads that they had in Star Trek. Number 6, hypo sprays. Dr. McCoy, if you got an ailment or got something on, they would shoot you with something, and all of a sudden now you're better. Now they're experimenting with that. Look at the COVID shots. Look at what's going on today with a lot of how they administer drugs.
Well, not only that, you have nanotech. They're experimenting with nanotech that goes in your body and fixes you without knowing really what's wrong with you in the first place.
Fact.
Learn and just do it.
Number 5, universal translators. One of the things that made Uhura, Nichelle Nichols' character, so important was the fact that she was a xenolinguist. She could speak alien languages. Well, when she wasn't around, they had the computer to do it. Now, they have apps that you can download and speak in English, point it to the person you're trying to talk to, and it'll talk to that person in whatever language they speak. And when they talk back, it'll convert back to you.
Yeah,
That's fire.
Yeah, that is fire. Number
So,
4.
sir, how do you say never mind, go ahead.
Did you say how do you say spank that? See, I told you can't go back on vacation.
I wonder if
As I said, it's not vacation.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You can't go nowhere.
It's
Travel
not
man.
vacay.
We can't let him out the house no more, y'all.
Nah, you on lockdown. Number 4.
Wait a minute.
We have tricorders that basically are handheld X-ray machines that can now scan the human body to identify some of the things that are going wrong in the body, which is crazy.
Wow.
Telepresence. What is telepresence? Telepresence is now communications in space. Cisco is now experimenting with communications in outer space, so that when there's a moon shot that is scheduled, let's say late this year, early next year, because they're going to set up a colony, or they're talking about setting up a colony on the moon, and communication won't have a blackout because of what Cisco is trying to do right now. Replicators in the Star Trek world, they feed people by using a machine called a replicator, which you hit a button, it replicates the chemical equation of whatever food that you want or whatever item that you want. Right. We have those now with 3D printers. We have those now with machines that artificially make food for people. So we're getting there.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's
I know.
machines that can make me a double cheeseburger. Right now.
They're working on it, buddy.
How do I get? Hey, wait a minute now.
Hey, didn't you see you know what? Didn't you pray to the KFC God a couple of weeks ago?
I did.
I was just gonna say there's already a video, there's a video game console that will make you chicken. What more do you want?
But
you can't bring up chicken.
What?
See, I knew you would see.
You started it.
No, you the one.
No,
you said
started it up. No, it's you.
And last but not least, communicator. In Star Trek, one of the cool things, and I know LaRock and I and anybody else that was a Trekkie in the 70s, we would always find something to flip up.
Yes, sir.
For our communicator, and that's how we play. Well, nowadays we got these $1,200 communicators,
and they don't even flip
anymore. Yeah, because my favorite phone before this was that Motorola Razr. I used to love that bad boy.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, we were looking at a Samsung phone like this the other day that it folds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Samsung Fold.
I really like that. I really like that one.
And
you missed that one, War. You have to say this one. There's one more that is right here that is only popping and is taking over, and that is the hologram world, the holosuite.
Hold on. There's one before that, and you're right about that. But there's one before that this one is scary, because we actually had this conversation before. They have successfely transported matter from one space to the other. They have actually done this in Japan. That they took an orange. I know we get transported. They have successfully taken an orange and they've transported it from one part of the room to the other part of the room, and when they got over there, it was still an orange. So transporters are now. I don't know that.
Just don't let a fly get in the. Just don't let a fly get in the pies, bro.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen the fly. Okay.
Florence. I am Florence.
Hilarious.
And then of course, like my man
that
said,
would happen to me. I don't.
That was crazy.
And then of course there are the holo suites, because this is what's happening now in the metaverse.
Yeah.
This is what Oculus, this is what Sony PlayStation VR, all of these things that we talk about, this is going on.
Yep.
Oh no, Freak Night said what now? Said it was inside out, but it was still an orange. Look, that was the first. That was the look, and LaRock, you'll back me up on this. That was one of the scariest scenes.
Oh yeah,
in Star Trek, when the transporter broke in the first movie, and
that's
and the scream was like, "Ah!" And then they were like, whatever came back didn't live long. Thankfully.
No. I've seen The Fly, and I've seen that movie, and if they came up with it in my lifetime, I would not step foot in a teleporter. Not a single toe.
Look, this is what I'm doing. I'm asking somebody to walk in before me, but I'm going in. If they call me and they said, hey, I made it where I'm supposed to go, hey, I'm on there. We good.
Hey, there's only one person on this panel that could not do that. And that would be Captain Nabisco, because we all know red shirts don't live when they go on. Red shirts are the stormtroopers of Star Trek.
You are gone, bro. You walk out the door.
Hey, look.
Walk out the door. Something like
and it'll be something crazy like they had never seen. We have never seen a planet actually eat a human being. It actually reached out and ate Captain Nabisco, and nothing but his dirty Air Jordans was flying through space.
I would just like to point out that for the first time in history on this podcast, it is not my fault that we are past 9 o'clock.
It is your fault because you're the one said it.
Stop, bro. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, listen. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. It was definitely a memorial for Nichelle Nichols.
Definitely dope.
She was a pioneer for the African American community, for the female community, because let's be honest, back in those days, there wasn't a lot of females, period, that had roles like what she had.
Facts.
So that is something to look forward to. If you guys ever want to check out the original Star Trek series that aired from 1966 to 1969, make sure you guys check it out, because as D-Ray, aka Worf, the producer, said, that is always aired somewhere. You can check it out wherever you want. Probably on Paramount
YouTube.
Plus if you needed it to.
Paramount Plus now is the home of everything Star Trek. They got it all. They got the lower decks. They have the original series. They got all of them now.
What's the new one with the girl from Walking Dead?
That's Discovery.
That's a cool show. I some of that.
Now let me tell you something. We gotta go. Discovery, because that's my girl. I love Sonequa.
Look what you did. Look what you started.
I know, I love her, but I'm gonna tell you this right now.
My job.
Strange New Worlds
is off the chain, bro.
Close.
Is like literally close to Discovery.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Real close.
Generation was dope. Voyager was dope. Deep Space Nine was dope. All of them. All of them, man. Every shot.
That's right.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for being part of the show. Worf, you got anything to say before we get out here?
Look, hey man, all gas, no brakes, man. Don't let anybody hold you back from your dreams, because just like Miss Nicole Nichols said, life is about choices, and the choices that you make can maybe affect somebody's dream down the line, man. All gas, no brakes. Follow your heart. Follow your dreams. I'm out.
John Luke LaRock, what you got to say to the people before we get up out of here?
Always venture out. Be a Trekkie. Boldly go where no one has gone before. Make your own path. That's it.
Dizzy LaTroy, what you got for us?
Well, actually, I wanted to. I'm going to plug us for a second. You guys are, saying very inspirational things, and I'm just not that clever. But I just want to remind everyone in chat: follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitch. Like, we are everywhere. Don't forget to go check us out. I did see that JD Smith was complaining that our show was ending right after he just got here. You can watch reruns on YouTube.
Yeah.
Bad, bro.
I promise you, we have a promo in which I talk to the chicken gods. You don't want to see that.
You need to see that.
Look, and make sure you have some holy water and a priest with some references when you watch that episode.
Captain Nabisco, what you got for us before we get up out of here?
Hey, real quick, I want to give a shout out to my man, Mod God True. That's our boy True Bars that came by to say hello to us.
My boy, bro. What's up?
What's up, man?
What's good?
Hey,
My bad.
man.
My bad, True. We was caught up in the moment.
I said hi to him.
You did, but I'm
I
saying,
did too.
you know,
What you mean?
whatever. Anyway,
True knows who loves him.
there you go. Nah, this was a really good episode. It was fun to acknowledge the icon, Nichelle Nichols, and just to see what she's done. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I had a lot of fun. I just want to drop this one real quick. That was with her and Martin Luther King representing. Man, she was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Facts.
No. Good show. You know the rest. Go ahead, Mr. Spock.
Okay, so this is where I give the outro to the show, guys. And like I said, unbelievable life that Nichelle had. I mean, she's just trailblazer in every way you can say it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of memorial of her life and especially what she did on Star Wars and the impact that she had.
Star Trek. Star Trek.
Oh, my bad. Star Trek.
The juice done wore off. You need to go back to the bathroom.
Star Trek. All right, she had an unbelievable career during the show. The conventions, like my boy Worf said, where she definitely was able to keep the show going, and she was an inspiration to a lot of probably young female actresses and a lot of female space explorers, astronauts, all kinds of things that were, NASA involved. So kudos to her, and we appreciate your legacy. Until I see you guys on the next episode, man, next week. Don't break nothing, man. GG, my G's.
GG, my G's.
Chewie and Picard, we're the salsa. And we out.